Okay, this morning we're working our most popular peacock. We have two breeding colonies of it. It's Blue OB Peacock. We're going to go over in a minute. But first I want to draw attention to Kate and Skylar. You might notice how dirty they are. I don't know how they do that, but they manage to get mud and stuff all over them. What do y'all do?
Clean grass.
They claim to have been working. Okay, well then go back to work. Skylar, when she gets done sorting those colors, let me know and I'll tell you what bats to put them in. Okay, Blue OB Peacock. We had two breeding colonies and had an interesting result. We had, I'm sorry I'm looking at this, we had a small breeding colony and a large breeding colony. The small being 23, the large being 35 females. The large breeding colony only produced around 50 fish. The small breeding colony, on the other hand, produced around 250. So I'd been ramping up the sizes of the breeding colonies, and now I'm not quite so sure about that. So I'm going to set these two up again and see what happens. If it replicates, then I'm going to start cutting down on breeders. Now there was one other difference. The smaller breeding colony only had 2 males. The big breeding colony was supposed to have 3, but ended up with 7. I added a bunch of young females, and 4 of those ended up being males when they grew up. We were just trying to get numbers up, which may have been counterproductive. It could be that we just had too many males in that vat. I'm going to put 3 males back into each of the vats, and 23 females in one, and I'm adding 11 young females to that one, so 46 females in the bigger one. So it's going to be twice as many females, and if we get the same result, then I know I need to cut down somewhere around 25 females. Okay, you live and learn all the time. Let's take a look at these fish. First, let's take a look at the 3 males that are going into the big breeding colony. I already put up the other fish. I don't like this one that much, but he's young. We'll give him a shot. Those 2 males are very nice. Let's see if they produce well. I really, really like him. But those are going to go into the breeding colony, so I'm going to put them back in here. Then I'm going to show you females and show what the best. I know this strain, so I know what the females that produce the best males look like. Oops. This is an assortment of females. Okay, this is a non-OB. We got non-OBs in both breeding colonies, which means at least one of our males and 1 female, and I suspect several are heterozygous for OB. OB is a dominant characteristic, and so if you mate 2 heterozygotes together, you end up getting about 25% non-OBs. Sooner or later, we'll get rid of that recessive gene, and we'll get 100% OBs. It's going to take a few more generations. Okay, I like this female that is a non-OB, and that female as breeder. Both of them show some blue highlights. They're dark, kind of drab fish. These lighter colored ones they throw males that are not as dark blue. So I select against them, and I'll be pulling some of those out of the breeding colony as we get better youngsters. Okay, so these guys are going to go in with these 3 males. I've already added the other females to the breeding colony. I'm going to keep the pale one simply because I want the numbers right now. See, she's too gold. I'll purge her next breeding cycle. Okay, let's see where these guys go. So we can they go to E3, so I'm going to put them up real quickly. Okay, now then, I want to show you. Oh, here are the young males that are just coloring up. I don't know if they're going to get dark enough. I'm probably just going to sell these 3 guys. These are the young males that were surplus in the large breeding colony. And they're not bad fish. It's just they're not as dark as I like. Their mothers were probably lighter colored fish. So we'll put those in a sail vat. One of these days, when we get Greenhouse 3 rebuilt and I have room, I'm going to set up vats to keep some fish for sale, and we'll do auctions of some of the secondary breeders. Okay, let's take a look at, we polyculture live bearers with the cichlids, and these are the breeders I picked for some red swordtails for the large breeding colony. And the small breeding colony, we went with Sunset Variatus. But you can see these are all genetically large males. I selected large females. I selected young females too. They'll go into form breeding colony in that 300. The swordtails, the males on the Y chromosome, that's kind of redundant. Only males have Y chromosome. The males have a gene on the Y chromosome, one of the few that exist on that chromosome, that determines the size of the male. And remarkably enough, it's called small, medium, and large alleles, 3 alleles for that gene. All of these males have the large allele, and all their sons will be big like them. Now, there will be some variation within that, so you'll have a smaller large male, a medium large male, a large male from other genes that impact size. That could be a gene for glucose metabolism, all kinds of things can affect that. Okay, I'm going to put these in the breeding colony and come back and look at some other stuff that was in that vat. Okay, let me get a bit of water. You can go ahead and take those Gambusia to 2A2 if Kate's done with them. Okay, Kate's still sorting a few fish from the breeding colony. Okay, in the breeding colony, the large breeding colony, a couple months ago, I saw a whole bunch of frog eggs. I assumed they were bullfrogs since we have big bullfrogs in this greenhouse. And I moved some of them into a 55, but apparently I missed some, and we got, I think it was 29 tadpoles out of that vat. And I'm going to show you those bullfrog tadpoles. This one is already starting to grow its legs. These 3 haven't yet. This one is the only light colored one like that, so I'm going to grow it up to see what it looks like when it's a mature bullfrog. They're going to go, I moved 24 of these into a 55-gallon vat. I'm going to put these 5 back into that 300 they came out of. So let's take them home. I want to watch that pale one closely, and keep an eye on it and separate it from adult bullfrogs, because big bullfrogs eat anything they can fit in their mouth. Mice, anything like that, they'll eat, including other frogs. Toads, I've seen one eat a toad. They'll eat little snakes. They eat fish, but they get mainly gutter and sump fish, so I don't care about that. Anyway, we're going to see what happens next breeding cycle. I'll report on that, and we'll see whether number of females and number of males has an impact upon production. Good fish keeping.